Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to Monster Taming Games You Never Knew, the segment on this channel where we explore and showcase new and upcoming monster taming titles that you've probably never heard of. This week we've got a wide range of titles to look forward to, some of which we've already touched on the channel, others we've never talked about at all, and we're just gonna have a good time. As per the usual, if you are a fan of monster taming content and want to stay up to date on all the latest developments and new upcoming titles, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for all things monster taming, and without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so to start things off, we've got a game that I personally think looks really cool thus far. The title in question is called Elden Awakened, if I pronounce that correctly, and is sort of a post-apocalyptic monster taming RPG with a focus on strategic turn-based combat. Basically, meteor hits Earth, Earth becomes wasteland, new life form is discovered, and these are the monsters that can then be tamed. I like the aesthetic a lot, and they do have a demo available on Steam if you're interested. The game and every other one we mentioned today will be linked below for your convenience. Next up, we got a title that you might recognize if you've been keeping up to date on the latest news, that being Ninth Dawn Remake, which is a complete, remake of the title called Ninth Dawn that dropped back in 2012. That being said, this is a 2.5D open world RPG that allows you to capture and utilize monsters to fight alongside you in combat. The remake is really adding a ton of unique features that never existed in the original, such as a first-person mode, a complete rework to the monster taming systems, a ton of new other modes, quality of life improvements, and more. I'm definitely excited to see how this one turns out. The dev's pretty cool, and I think you guys should be too. Next up, we got Flock, which is definitely a different kind of game. It's a multiplayer co-op title where you take control of flying shepherds and cultivate a horde of flying creatures. The game essentially has you exploring a wide variety of biomes, increasing the size of your horde, and discovering creatures along the way. It's more of a creature collector, if you will, in that the main focus is just to collect monsters to add to your horde, instead of like battling them, but nevertheless, if you're looking for something like that, this game does look pretty neat. Okay, so to be fair, I did cover this one really recently, so it might in fact be a monster taming game you knew if you're an avid fan, but for those that don't, Neo Duel Backpack Monsters is a bit of an interesting case here. It's an inventory management auto battler where you pit your monsters against other players whilst also making sure that they can adequately fit in your backpack. The game is focused on player versus player battles as mentioned, and I believe it's somewhat similar to Monster Masters in that respect. It's slated for Q3 of this year, which is quite close. Okay, so to finish things off today, we have Farmagia, which, let me just say, looks pretty nice and has some interesting context to it. I'm going to read this little blurb from the Steam page because I think it's interesting and you guys will want to hear it. Marvelous and Hero Mashima team up to present a brand new venture full of frantic monster combat and rewarding farming simulation. After the death of the ruler, the despotic overlord Glaza seizes power and imposes an oppressive regime on the world's inhabitants. As Ten and his fellow Farmagia friends command an army of monsters as you explore and battle across the treacherous lands of the underworld, collecting resources to take back to your farm. There you'll upgrade your skills as a Farmagia or Farmagia, probably mispronouncing it, growing more monsters to nurture and developing their new traits to aid you in your battle against Glaza and the Horacian Says, which hilariously is an actual thing from Fairy Tail, which, if you don't know, is Hiro Mashima's most popular manga. With his signature style, Mashima brings forth memorable character designs and unique monsters to make Farmagia the ultimate monster farming and action game. So yeah, anyone that knows this guy knows that he likes to reuse character designs and concepts and stuff like that and just kind of rework them a little bit, so it will be interesting to see exactly how much of that we see here. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see him making a monster taming game of all things, or at least helping in the artistic aspects of it. But yeah, there you go, guys. Those are 5 monster taming games that you've probably never heard of. Let me know down below how many of these games you already knew about and which ones that you've discovered through this channel. As usual, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as it's your one-stop shop for all things monster taming. And special thanks to our patrons, especially Jim Hamilton, Dro Ghost, Candy, Morency, TragSoft, and Nemo. With that, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.